Hey, this is going to be some more proof that the Septuagint text is more accurate and is quoted more times by the New Testament than the Masoretic text. Okay, I have this cool site right here where you can compare the Septuagint next to the Masoretic text. It doesn't have the original Greek or Hebrew, but you can obviously look that up as well on your own. So in Proverbs 3:34, it says, "The Lord resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble." The Masoretic, in the Septuagint on the left, the Masoretic text, which 99% of Bibles have today, it says, surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. Well, what does the New Testament say? Uh, God resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble, gives grace to the humble, not the lowly. So even the exact words are the same for most of these verses. And what's confusing is that this is the King James Version, okay? And this is the Septuagint version. It's basically the same, so I don't know why the King James people aren't recording the same exact things that the New Testament is saying into their Old Testament. This isn't technically the King James Masoretic text, but this is what most of the Jews are looking at. So here's another example. You shall be a royal priesthood and a holy nation. Whereas right here it says you should be a kingdom of priests. What does the New Testament say? A royal priesthood, right here. So the verbiage, once again, is correct in the Septuagint. Okay, let's see. In Isaiah 40:6, say, "What shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the glory of man as the flower of grass. The grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of God abides forever." So that's what 1 Peter 24 says. However, in the Masoretic text, all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field, or as this says, flower of the grass. Surely the people is grass right here, but it doesn't say that right here. So once again, the Septuagint is quoting the New Testament, or the New Testament is quoting the Septuagint. Forgive me. All right. God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. Once again, the New Testament quoted Proverbs 30 and 34 again. Let's see, "The Lord is my helper, I will not fear what man shall do unto me." The New Testament, Psalms 118:6, "The Lord is my helper, I will not fear what man shall do to me." Whereas the Masoretic said, "The Lord is on my side, I will not fear, what can man do unto me?" That's different. The Lord loveth Whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. The Septuagint, "For whom the Lord loves, he rebukes, and scourges every son whom he receives." The Masoretic says, "For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth." Totally different. Whereas the Septuagint is being quoted by the letters of Paul. So Paul was reading the Septuagint, not whatever text the Masoretic is coming from. Here we go. Leaning on top of his staff, right here. Septuagint, Genesis 47:31, leaning on top of his staff, whereas this doesn't mention that at all. It talks about the bed's head right here. Sorry, y'all can't see that, but look it up. This thing's in the way. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death. Whereas look at this one. Enoch was well pleasing to God, was not found because God translated him. But the Masoretic says, "And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." That's totally different. And the New Testament says translated, and so does the Septuagint, but not here. Okay, here we go. Hebrews 10:37, right here. "Though he should tarry, wait for him, for he will surely come and will not tarry. Though it tarry, wait for it." Like this kind of makes it more broad and obscure, whereas it's literally talking about a man, Jesus. "If he should draw back, my soul has no pleasure in him, but the just shall live by my faith." Whereas Masoretic says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." That's totally different, y'all. Hebrews 8 and 9 talks about the covenant that he made, and he He will put the laws in their mind and write them in their hearts. Okay, and that's what the Septuagint says in Jeremiah 31:32. I will put the laws into their mind and write them on their hearts. Whereas the Masoretic says, I'll put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. Okay, inward parts, like these corrupt Bibles don't want you to think, so they take out words like mind and just say inward parts. It's a lot of little things like that. Today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. Today, if ye hear his voice, in Psalms 95:8, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. Whereas this says, just harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. It takes out stuff. Changing the word of God, by the way. That's what that means. This is very serious implications, y'all. It says, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee. Okay, Septuagint also says church, because church is not a place. It is the believers. We are the church. But of course, the politically correct Masoretic text says congregation, as if you have to go to some church every day to go to heaven. And that's wrong. Once again, it's propaganda. Okay, Hebrews 2:7, thou made him a little lower than the angels. Thou crownest him with glory and honor, and didst set him over the works of thy hands, which is basically what Psalms 8:5 says in the Septuagint. Whereas the Masoretic says, hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Huh? This says, thou hast set him over the works. This one has a whole bunch of other stuff added unnecessarily. Hebrews 1:12. As I venture shalt thou fold them up, and they shall be changed, but thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. So we got Psalms 102:26. Whereas this says, as a vesture shalt thou change them, and they shall be changed, but thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end. That's different than shall not fail. And it's not what the New Testament says. Shall not fail is what it says, using the Septuagint. Hebrews 1:6. And again, when he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, he saith, and let all the angels of God worship him. So we go to Deuteronomy 32:43. Let all the angels of God worship him. What does it say here? Rejoice, ye nations, with the people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants and render vengeance to his adversaries. This is a totally different verse, and not to mention it's half the length of it. So this is the true verse of God that we're just totally missing out. Pause this video and read that whole verse, because that's the word of God we're missing out on. 2 Timothy 2:19. The Lord knoweth them that are his, and let everyone that nameth the name of Christ depart from iniquity. It says God has visited and known those that are his. Whereas this one says, even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his and who is holy. It's not who will show. God already knows. God's not going to do something different in the future that he didn't know from the beginning. Once again, it's propaganda, changing doctrine. Galatians 4:27. Rejoice, thou barren that bearest not. Break forth and cry, thou that travailest not. For the desolate hath many more children than she which hath an husband. Okay? So we go to Isaiah 54:1. Rejoice, thou barren that bearest not. Break forth and cry, thou that dost not travail. For more are the children of the desolate than of her that has a husband. Whereas this said, sing, O barren, that thou didst bear. Break forth into singing. Huh? And cry aloud. It's just totally different. All right, Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For as it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. Okay? And then right here in Deuteronomy 21:23, for everyone that is hanged on a tree is cursed of God. Whereas here it says, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of God. Not hanged on a tree, just hanged in general. Whereas the New Testament, it says hangeth on a tree. It does matter. Now Galatians 3:10. For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse, for it is written, which means that he's quoting the Old Testament, Cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. That's basically what Deuteronomy 27:26 says. Whereas here, it says, Cursed be he that confineth not all the words of the law to do them. Okay, and all of the people shall say Amen. This says, Cursed is every man. That's the correct text. This says, Cursed be he that just random some guy. I mean, it's changing the word of God. All right, 2 Corinthians 6:2. I have heard thee in a time accepted, in the day of salvation I have succored thee. Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. And then we go to Isaiah 49. Thus saith the Lord, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in the day of salvation have I succored thee. Whereas the Masoretic text says, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee. Okay? It's a different quote. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? Okay, so we go to Hosea. I'm seeing the names in the URLs right here. If y'all pause it, you can see the names of each book. Hosea 13:14, where is thy penalty, O death? O Hades, where is thy sting? Where it says here in the Masoretic, O death, I will be thy plagues. O grave, I will be thy destruction. It's not even a question. It's just stating something. Whereas the New Testament quotes the question being asked. I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. We go to Isaiah 29. I will destroy the wisdom of the wise. Okay, and then 29:14, the Masoretic, it says, for the wisdom of their wise men shall perish. That's different than I will destroy it. God's saying I'll do it. But this is just saying, oh, it'll just disappear over time. No. He will destroy the wisdom of the wise himself. Okay, Romans 15:12. Isaiah saith, there shall be a root of Jesse, and he that shall rise to reign over the Gentiles. In him shall the Gentiles trust. So we go to Isaiah 11:10. Be a root of Jesse, and he shall arise to rule over the Gentiles. In him shall the Gentiles trust. Whereas the Masoretic text says, there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. That's not the word of God. That's totally different. Romans 12:20. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. That's what the Septuagint says in Proverbs 25:21. Whereas this adds or takes away. It adds things. If thine enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat. And if he be thirsty, give him water to drink. No one mentioned bread or water. No one's talking about that. Because it's also a spiritual meaning. This wants to take it literally. Like give him H2O and grain and wheat and bread. No. Hunger is hunger for truth, and so is water. It's all symbolic. But these kind of translations kind of mess that up. All right. Who hath known the mind of the Lord? Who hath been his counselor? Well, let's go to Isaiah 40:30. Who has known the mind of the Lord, and who has been his counselor? What does the Masoretic text say? Who hath directed the Spirit of the Lord, or being his counselor hath taught him? Spirit and mind. We take those to be very different things, especially as Americans. Once again, it takes away the word mind, as if you're not supposed to use it. But we are. Romans 11:27, for this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. Okay, so Isaiah 27:9 says, I shall have taken away his sin, right here. But here it says, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin. That's, Romans 11:27 is quoting the Septuagint, not the Masoretic text. I'm going to keep saying it. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So Isaiah 59:20, the deliverer shall come for Zion's sake, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Whereas the Masoretic text says, the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. That's not what Paul's quoting in Romans. So they're using a different text. Let's see. Let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their back alway. So Psalm 66, 69 and 22, where it's quoting it from. Let their table before them be for a snare, and for a recompense, and for a stumbling block. Let their eyes be darkened that they should not see, and bow down their back continually. What does this say? 22. Let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. Let their eyes be darkened that they see not, and make their loins continually to shake. That doesn't say bow down their back continually. It says make their loins continually to shake. That's totally different from Romans 11 and 9. No loins mentioned. Romans 10:20. Isaiah is bold and says, I was found in them that sought me not. I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me. All day long have I stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. So Isaiah 65 is what it says right there. This one says, behold me, unto a nation that is not called by my name. It's totally different. This one's, it says, I've stretched forth my hands all day to the disobedient and gainsaying people, to them that have walked in a way that was not good, but after their sins. I spread out my hands all day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. So now they took away the word sin and just put thoughts, as if it's not as bad a thing. Romans 10:18, have you not heard the sound that went into all the earth, and their words into the ends of the world? Just quoting Psalm 19. Their voices gone out into all the earth, and their words to the ends of the world. Okay, let's see. Their line is gone throughout all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. Whereas this one has the tabernacle of the sun in the 5th verse, not the 4th. The original, that line was in the next line. But look at this. In the Septuagint it says, and he come forth as a bridegroom out of his chamber, he will exult as a giant to run his course. Whereas the Masoretic says, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. It's trying to hide the procession of the equinox, that's my opinion, because the heavens declare the glory of God. When the sun goes through each zodiacal sign, it's representative of some biblical story. Virgo the virgin, Leo the lion is Jesus coming back as the Lion of the tribe of Judah, etc. Okay, whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. Whereas Isaiah 28:16 says, in the Masoretic it says, he that believeth shall not make haste. That's a little different than be ashamed. Okay, the stumbling block again, right here, we looked at that one. Romans 9:29, as Isaiah said, except the Lord of Sabbath had left us a seed, or Sabaoth, we had been as Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah. Okay, that's what the Septuagint says in Isaiah 1:9. Except in the Septuagint it says, in the Masoretic it says, except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant. It doesn't say Lord of Sabbath. We should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Okay, it leaves out that first part. Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. Okay, that's what Isaiah 10:22 says, whereas in the Masoretic text say, though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. Return and that whole other line is not even in this, that's not in this book. They're changing everything. Romans 3:14, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness, which is quoting Psalm 10:7, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness, whereas the Masoretic says his mouth is full of cursing and deceit. Okay, deceit means you're lying. Bitterness just means you're upset and mad. These are two different psychological states, and this is the Word of God we're talking about, so we need to consider everything. Romans 3:12, they're all gone out of the way, they're together become unprofitable, there is none that doeth good, no, not one. This says they're all gone out of their way, they're together become good for nothing, there's none that does good, no, not one. Okay, whereas look how short this version is. There's none that doeth good, no, not one. And then it stops. Here's the word of God we're missing. Their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. There's no fear of God before their eyes. So yeah, the Jews took that part out. No biggie. They obviously didn't fear God if they don't care about changing stuff. It's insane. Okay, the fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They've corrupted themselves and become abominable in their devices. Okay? There's none that do goodness, not even so much as one. That's actually referring to the past verse that Romans is also quoting. All right, Romans 3:4. God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Which is Psalm 51:4. Exactly the same thing. But what does the Septuagint said? That thou might be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judgest. That's not what it says. Okay, next one. Romans 2:24, for the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written. Well, on account of you, my name is continually blasphemed among the Gentiles. Isaiah 52:5. Right here it says, my name is continually every day blasphemed. I mean, this is just totally different. Okay? Why are we looking at this Masoretic text at all? Ugh, such a conspiracy. Almost done, y'all. Acts 15:17, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles, upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord, who doeth all these things. Okay? Book of Amos 9:12, that the remnant of men and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called may earnestly seek me, saith the Lord, who does all these things. Masoretic says that they may possess the remnant of Edom, okay, and of all the heathen, which are all called by my name. That's totally different than what this is quoting. Who said anything about Edom? Acts 8:32. He was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and like a lamb dumb before his shearer, so opened he not his mouth. In his humiliation his judgment was taken away. And who shall declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth. So we get that from, once again, Isaiah 53. We all know the famous Isaiah 53 thing, but let's read it in the right translation. And he, because of his affliction, opens not his mouth. As he was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and as a lamb before the shearer is dumb, so he opens not his mouth. In his humiliation his judgment was taken away. Who shall declare this generation? For his life is taken away from the earth. Okay, let's see what this says. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before his shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare this generation? For he was cut off from the land of the living. Not from earth, but the land of the living. Okay, and who said anything about prison? Nobody. Acts 7:43. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Okay, so book of Amos 5:26. Ye took the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, the images which ye have made for yourselves, and I will carry you away from beyond Damascus, which is Babylon, saith the Lord. The Masoretic text says, but ye have borne the tabernacle of Moloch and chewin your images. Not Remphan, chewin. A random freaking name they just thought of. Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. Well, if you believe in conspiracies and that God is right, then it does make sense, because God says there's a conspiracy in 2 Thessalonians 2:11. Anyway, Acts 7:27. But he that did his neighbor wrong thrust him away, saying, who made thee a ruler and a judge over us? Wilt thou kill me, as thou didst the Egyptians yesterday? This is quoting Exodus 2:14. Who made thee a ruler and a judge over us? Wilt thou slay me, as thou yesterday slewest the Egyptian? What does the Masoretic text say? Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killed the Egyptian? Prince and ruler are different words, but the New Testament said prince. Says ruler, just like the Septuagint does. There, bada bing, bada boom. Acts 7:14, then sent Joseph, and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, 70 souls. So that's going to be 75. So Septuagint is right. Genesis 46:27, and the sons of Joseph who were born to him in the land of Egypt were 9 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob who came with Joseph into Egypt were 75 souls. What does the Masoretic Text say? 70. That's 70. This is hard math that the Bible is getting wrong because it's a wrong translation. The Septuagint conserves the 75, as does the New Testament. Right there. Acts 4:26, the kings of the earth stood up and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ, which is Psalms 2:2. The kings of the earth stood up and the rulers gathered together themselves against the Lord and against his Christ. That's what it says. Because guess what? In the original Hebrew, Messiah is Messiah, which is Christ. But in the Masoretic, they just say anointed, so they kind of take away the flavor and the actual truth of it all. Okay? In the text, in the Septuagint, it says Christus. Okay? And in the original Hebrew, if you go read it, it says Messiah, which is Messiah. But they don't want y'all to know that. All right? Acts 2:25. I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on my right hand, that I should not be moved. Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover, also my flesh shall rest in hope. Psalm 16:8. I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on my right hand, that I should not be moved. Therefore my heart rejoiced, and my tongue exulted. Moreover, also my flesh shall rest in hope. Masoretic Text. I have set the Lord always before me, not my face. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. Okay. That's so wrong. John 6:31. Our fathers did eat manna in the desert, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. Okay. Septuagint says bread. Masoretic says corn. In Psalms 78:24, it says corn of heaven. Okay, but the Septuagint says bread of heaven. 78:24, Psalms. Okay. Luke 3:5, every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough way shall be made smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. So Isaiah 40:5, the glory of the Lord shall appear, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. What does the Masoretic say? Glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. No, all flesh shall see the salvation of God, not all flesh shall see it. What is it? Why are you taking things out? It's so corrupt. All right, Matthew 21:16. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings thou hast perfected praise. Okay, Psalms 8:2. Out of the mouths of babies and sucklings hast thou perfected praise. What does this say? Out of the mouths of babes and suckling hast thou ordained strength. Perfected praise is totally different than ordained strength. Okay? And Jesus was quoting the Septuagint right there, y'all. Not the Masoretic Text. Wherever that comes from, it's wrong. Matthew 15:8. This people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Okay, which is from Isaiah, once again, 29:13. This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth, and they honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching the commandments and doctrines of men. Whereas, what does this say? For as much as this people draw near with their mouths and with their lips do honor me, they have removed their heart from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Who said anything about fear right here? That's not what even Jesus is quoting. Okay? He's reading the Septuagint. Wherever that came from, that's what he's reading. All right, the people's heart is waxed gross in Matthew 13:5, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed. Okay? And Isaiah 6:10, for the heart of the people has become gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. Whereas this said, make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their, that's totally different. That's not the right text. Okay, y'all, and I got this awesome list from conservapedia.com/Septuagint. That was about 50 different things I just read. And the next thing I'm going to look at is all the times the New Testament quotes the Apocrypha. Okay, so we need to consider that as well. But thank y'all for watching my video. I know it was a long one, but hopefully y'all learned something. Take care. Read the Septuagint.